Hammer Osbo is set to come down the hill. He's going to be going against Kevin Lawrence, who unfortunately had some issues with his S14. That's why I mistakenly the other day said S14. It's on the paper. I'm looking at it. Looks familiar, but then comes around. I'm like, no, that's a Skyline. So what happened is I actually drove the car up from Florida when they had issues with the S14, and now here he is behind the wheel of the Skyline. Barely made it in, qualified 32nd. Kevin Lawrence from Orlando, and Frederick Osbo. This is his second time being the Black Magic Top Qualifier Award winner. So he gets the medallion, he gets the money, and he gets the pride of knowing that he is #1 qualifier. He had a 97 and then backs it up with a 99. Ryan, watching practice, anybody stand out to you as far as like, that's the guy to watch?
Not that's the guy to watch, but just everybody reinforcing what they were doing yesterday in qualifying and applying that into tandem practice. Tandem practice is always really fun to watch. We see guys, you know, pushing up to that level and sometimes pushing a little bit too hard. We didn't have any wrecks that were noticeable in top 32 practice, so that's good. And, you know, the event is actually turning out to be a lot different than we all came into it thinking.
That we anticipated, right?
Yeah, we were thinking this is going to be a completely wet top 32. It's dry, it's partly cloudy, and it looks like the rain is staying away for now, so let's enjoy it.
Yeah, suck it up. Suck it up, Buttercup. Here we go. Frederick Osbo, Kevin Lawrence. You see Kevin Lawrence, you are allowed to leave that start line early if you're the chase vehicle. Frederick Osbo throws it in. Kevin Lawrence not too far behind, but he is going against the former champ in that Rockstar energy drink. Toyota Racing, Toyota Corolla on Nexen tires, comes into that second outer zone. Kevin Lawrence goes deep with that Skyline. Osbo tightens it up in the horseshoe, in the keyhole. Out of that horseshoe goes Osbo. Kevin Lawrence now being left in that Nexen tire smoke, heads up the hill. Ryan Sage, what say you, bud?
Well, you see Osbo doing what he does out front. We talk about it all the time, but he is so consistent with it. Great start to his lead run here. Kevin Lawrence falling back a little bit, trying to gain some proximity here. You can see that gap being established coming into that first outer zone and in the second outer zone. Osbo very, very locked in here. I like this transition coming down the hill, and watch this quick snap back. He catches the angle, boom, right there, and then flows right through that last inside clip. So as we go on board with the drone, you get a good perspective here of the line that Osbo's taking. He gets right out to the edge of the course, right before the rumble strip, which is where the zone ends. If drivers go out on the rumble strip, it's not extra points. They just need to get to the edge of the track, but they won't receive a deduction unless they actually go off course, Jared. So now we're going to switch things up. Kevin Lawrence fighting here in the top 32 against Frederick Osbo, who will now take the chase position. Yeah,
Frederick Osbo, I assume, has an advantage here, just very dominant, and knowing Frederick Osbo, he's going to be right there to the side of the Skyline, just not leaving it in the judge's hands. Might give himself a little bit of room, but knowing Osbo, he's going to go for the gusto. Here we go. Going to that first front clip, Kevin Lawrence initiates Frederick Osbo, and the judges want to see them in-line initiation. So as Kevin Lawrence gets to that first outer zone, looking a lot better with the clean air, get that second outer zone. There's Osbo, tucked right into formation in that keyhole. And now out of that, there's the quick little touch and go. Both of them filling that touch and go, and that last clip, a good effort by Kevin Lawrence in the lead position, but Osbo just so dominant there in the chase. Yeah, not a whole lot of questions there or ambiguity. Osbo stuck with them through that first inside clip, chased him up the hill here. Kevin Lawrence laying down a pretty solid lead run here. I like the angle as he enters that second outside zone, but Osbo tucked up on the inside, still maintaining the correct line in the chase position. And here Osbo opens up a little bit, lets Kevin get out, and then right here tucks up on the inside as Lawrence wraps through that final inside clip and keeps the proximity tight. So good effort by both drivers. Looks like Frederick Osbo was just a bit too strong on this first battle. Slide him left for Lawrence, right for Frederick Osbo, and there you go. It's unanimous. Frederick Osbo gets the win and moves on in his Rockstar energy drink. Nexen tire, Toyota Racing, Toyota Corolla hatchback. Want to send a shout out to my wife, my beautiful, lovely wife of nearly 17 years. Happy belated birthday, just this past Wednesday. And also happy Mother's Day to her, my mom, and all the moms out there in the world. Happy Mother's Day to you. All right, so next up, our battle is the Beast from the Bay, and also this man, Jeff Jones. Lorette Nickel is with him now.
Well, a lot of you fans know that Jeff Jones in Long Beach broke his finger in 2 places. And Jeff, you had to go to the ER and you were still on the track on Saturday. That's amazing.
Yeah, you know, that was a rough part of that day, right? It's you want to have a smooth beginning of your year, and breaking the finger, having to get 8 stitches and having to qualify like that. And then, oh man, so, you know, got there Saturday, whatever, did our thing. And then even Orlando, all these tracks, the rounds are so close together. So in Orlando, it was still hurting. I couldn't do much with it. Now I can actually kind of touch it, and it doesn't kill me every time. And I'm able to be a little bit more hands-on because, I'm pretty hands-on with my team. Now, luckily, my boys are just taking care of me and running it, and we're able to get through here.
Yeah, and going against Matt Field, what's your expectations?
Yeah, I don't know. What a jerk. Like, I qualified with a 91, and I get 16th place, and he goes and qualifies and gets 17th place. So I'm going against my boy Matt Field for like the 100th time, and he should be like a #1 qualifier, and I got to go against him. So thanks, buddy. My expectations, I'm going to run it hard, man. I've beaten you, like, I think once or twice, and you've beaten me like 4 times. I'm going to kick your butt.
Best of luck.
Thank you, guys.
What a legend.
Jeff Jones, he's just
just makes me so happy.
Yeah, he definitely, I don't know what he's going to say. And usually it's just some funny stuff, and he's just saying what's at the top of his mind, and I can completely appreciate that. And coincidentally, he's going against another driver that definitely speaks his mind. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and you can see when he's kind of feeling the flow and feeling the vibe. So this should be a fun one to watch, and like he said, good homies. But now one's going to rise to the occasion, and one's going to be watching from the sidelines. Here we go, Matt Field and Jeff Jones. Jeff Jones qualifies higher, so he leads first in that top. Edelbrock, 370Z, Matt Field in tow. At Falcon Tires. Oh boy, look at that. Matt Field slides right up to the side of Matt Field. And now bringing it out of the keyhole. Matt Field dropping back a little bit here. I'll tell you what, when watching practice, Jeff Jones was really impressing me, and not only in the lead position, but in the chase position.
Well, this is the best that he's qualified. He's looking pretty strong. He has a little bit of hesitation on initiation there. Field anticipated it. He got that early initiation, got right in the pocket, but now Jones is really laying it on, coming up into this second outside zone. Here comes Field, closing the door from the first to second outside zone, keeping it tight here, but Jones back on the throttle, mashing it through. A little bit of separation here as Jones starts to pull away towards the finish line. Field falls back 3-4 car lengths, and here it is coming up into outside zone 1. You can see Field anticipating Jones's line, stays nice and tight there. Great shot overhead here as Jones hits that inside clip. This is where we see that first little separation point from Field to Jones. Field with a little bit less angle there, and then he fell back towards the end. So Jones on fire here in his lead run.
Well, it looks like the fire is kind of smoldering right now. He called the competition timeout. So unfortunately for Jeff Jones, he calls the competition timeout. Didn't look like anything was wrong. I mean, looked pretty solid. And like I said, in that chase position in practice, he looked really good. So wonder what's going on with him. Next battle is our 3-time Formula Drift champion, Chris the Force Forsberg, going against the local Georgian driver, Taylor Hull, in that Comp Cams Cadillac ATS-V. So as Taylor Hull progresses the sophomore season for this vehicle, he's your local Southern boy here. LS the World, this is the cam for you. I feel like we've seen that commercial quite a bit here this weekend. Chris Forsberg sitting on the line, that NOS energy drink. Nissan 370Z on Nexen tires. Chris Forsberg changing engine packages. That's kind of the thing that is notable about his program. Changing to the GTR, the VR setup. Stroked out. I know OCD Motorworks working with them and a few other companies as Taylor Hull pulls to the line. Taylor Hull would love to do well here in his home state. But he's going to have to go through Chris Forsberg, who qualified 8th. Taylor Hull qualifying 25th. All right, the lights extinguish, and we're ready to send it here. A little nitrous purge there from Chris Forsberg on the line. If you haven't seen Drift This on Motor Trend On Demand, I encourage you to watch it. Him and his fellow Blackout member, Ryan Turk, as well as Dylan Hughes, building some fun cars. Check out Drift This on Motor Trend On Demand, but right now it's all about Drift This 370Z. Coming into that first front clip, here comes Chris Forsberg. Tight to that front clip, Taylor Hull shimmies his way up, and Forsberg filling all that outside zone, the first outer zone coming to the second outer zone. Just barely dips that back left corner, and Taylor Hull keeping pace. Just a couple car lengths back is Taylor Hull. And Forsberg slingshots out of that touch and go and into the final clip. That was the first front clip.
Well, it looks like Taylor Hull did his homework here. He anticipated the initiation from Chris very well. Chris has been very consistent with that initiation through practice and qualifying, and you can see it's paying dues for him here. He's on a great line coming up the hill, reaches out to this outside zone. Great job there. A little bit less angle from Taylor as he tries to close the door. Now leaving the horseshoe as both drivers head down. A little bit of separation here as Forsberg gets on it. Taylor Hull backs off a little bit, and you can see that gap established on run number 1 towards the finish line. Here it is right here as Chris gets into that first and second outside zone. Taylor right there with a little bit less angle, trying to gain proximity. He drops a tire coming down off the course. We shared some conversation in the drivers meeting about that section there. A lot of drivers really want to try to get the right line coming out of the keyhole, and sometimes they got to take that tighter line. They want to know how the judges feel about it. And you know, of course, in head-to-head matchups, it's all about the comparison from run 1 to run 2 and the lead and chase comparison. So now we will go to the lead for Taylor Hull.
Taylor Hull will lead. He's going to line up those Achilles tires underneath his comp cams, Cadillac ATSV. Chris Forsberg initiates right there in tow on that first front clip as Taylor Hull separates himself from Forsberg. Now getting in that outside zone, another situation where looks a lot more comfortable out front, similar to that of Jeff Jones. Forsberg right there allows a little bit of space to chase him down and brings him into that final clip. Taylor Hull and Forsberg head back up the hill. Ryan, standout points for you?
Well, you can see Chris really initiated with them right there, tried to stay close on that first inside clip. Nice transition back around by Taylor Hull. And then you see Taylor getting deep into that second outside zone, but Chris sticking to him through that inside clip as Taylor goes a bit wide there. Now coming down the hill, Forsberg keeping the pressure on here. The snap back around by Taylor Hull. Chris in the chase position. And here it is coming into inside clip 1. You can see Taylor goes off course just a little bit. Now coming up the hill. Good line here by Taylor. And Chris closing the door. Great perspective as we go on board with both drivers through that very tight inside clip section before we leave the horseshoe.
Going to the judges, slide him left for Hull, slide him right for Chris Forsberg, and it's unanimous. Chris Forsberg gets the win. Chris Forsberg gets the win and moves on into the top 16. Before we move on to our next battle, it is 2 Formula Drift veterans, as Chris Forsberg is a day oneer as well as just a handful of them left. The Ken Gushi is going against our former champ, Vaughn Gittin Jr. Lorette caught up with him.
Well, Vaughn, in all honesty, it's really unusual to see you qualify in the 24th position. So yesterday, what happened?
Honestly, I think I was having a little bit too much fun. My first run, I got out on the rumble strip. I had a ton of angle and was holding it, and then debeated a tire. Finished my lap, but of course it's hard to be perfect with a debeated tire. I got a good score. I got a decent score in 83. And my second run, I went out and just pushed a little bit too hard, made a couple dumb mistakes. And, you know, it is what it is. I'll start from the back this weekend and battling Ken Gushi in the top 32, which I'm pumped about. We haven't had a battle in a while, and he's an amazing driver, super consistent, so it's going to be, allow me to push hard, which I'm looking forward to.
And Vaughn, how do you refine those mistakes that you made yesterday into today?
Yeah, just a lot of driving in the head overnight. I came here this morning with things to work on. I just dialed them in for practice, and that's it. It's easy stuff. I knew exactly what I did wrong. You know, just trying to be a hero and really get that first qualifying spot. You know, Chelsea and I have been talking a little smack, so, and I just went a little bit too hard, and it's easy to do out here, you know. It's a fine line. Everybody's pushing it so hard, so, you know, I didn't get it, but it's all good. We'll just battle up from the back, and it'll be more fun and earn it that way.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
Guys.
All right, looks like Ken Gushi was on the line. Vaughn Gittin Jr. was intended to do a burnout there, but looks like Gushi will reheat up his Achilles tires. Ken Gushi and his Gretty Performance Toyota Racing Toyota 86. Looks like he's scrubbed up, ready to go. Scrub it up, dub. Get in the tub. As Vaughn Gittin Jr. again just had some words of too much fun. Gotta love that, right? The professional fun haver. As Vaughn pulls to the line. What is it? Dai Yoshihara, Chris Forsberg, Vaughn Gittin Jr., Ken Gushi. I believe those are the remaining day oneers. But we do have some close, like Mohan, Turk. They've been around a considerable amount of time. But right now, These guys are definitely day oneers. 2004. Happy anniversary to those guys. Here we go. Ken Gucci, Vaughn Gittin Jr. As Ken Gucci initiates, Vaughn Gittin Jr. chasing him down. Some distance between them as Gucci very fluid as Vaughn now catches him on the uphill into that second outer zone. Gucci dips some tire into the dirt. Vaughn Gittin Jr. flexing on him as they come back down the hill into that final front clip. Ryan, it looked like Gucci was going to pull away from him, but going up the hill, Vaughn caught him.
Yeah, great initiation by both drivers. You can see Vaughn was really poised here to attack. Gucci silky smooth going up the hill. Vaughn starting to creep up here, and then Gucci goes deep into this first outside zone, drops the tire. Vaughn follows him. No drivers make the mistake of going way off the course, and you can see big smoky clouds coming from Ken Gucci and Vaughn Gittin Jr. right there on that switchback coming back around. And a great start here to run number one. Here's where Vaughn starts to close the door up the hill. Gucci reaching out to this first outside zone. Very close there by both drivers in proximity. You can see Vaughn just tapping that inside clip, trying to keep that line as tight as possible. And now we switch things up as Vaughn Gittin Jr. will take the lead.
Vaughn in that Monster Energy Nitto tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D will now lead. And Ken Gucci now chasing him down. Are we going to have a clear victor? About to find out. Come on, Vaughn and Ken Gucci. Vaughn, big angle there, taking out that front clip. Loved, you always talk about that kind of expectation and seeing and expecting that. And Gucci did a really good job, I thought, on the transition. Now it looks like he's struggling a little bit here in the chase position out of that horseshoe. And a big, oh, and look at that. I was just talking about that smoke line, and it looked like, oh, and Gucci, oh, Vaughn spins across the finish line. You can't really see it, but Vaughn spins out. Wow, that was interesting. I thought Ken Gucci was going to spin out, but let's take a look at it again here, Ryan.
We definitely want to take a look at that closely, and these two orange cones down here are the finish line, so drivers are expected to be drifting through the finish line. Vaughn starts out here, pulls a little bit of a gap on Gucci. Gucci trying to close the door. Vaughn, nice job on that second outside zone. Gucci with a little bit less angle here, tight. One of them looks like Vaughn just touched that inside clip. Now coming down the hill here, huge smoke cloud. Now let's watch this final turn.
Watch Gucci too, though.
Gucci goes across that inside clip, and Vaughn just past the finish line. And I'm surprised they didn't make contact there. Let's see if we can get another perspective. Yeah, it was Gucci that just tapped that inside clip. Both drivers going crazy, driving through the smoke line. Here's Vaughn coming through the finish line.
Yeah, Gucci
tight on that inside clip.
He does pass the finish line. It looks like he did. He drifted past the finish line, and oh, it looks like he did tap that front left corner. So here it is again.
Yeah, here it is again. He's at full lock there. He passes the finish line in drift, obviously, and we'll have to see how the judges, interpret that. But definitely a very smoky, aggressive battle from both drivers.
I was just going to talk about just how much smoke was being kicked off the back end of Vaughn Gittin Jr.'s Ford Mustang, and when I was going to say that, Ken Gucci looked like in the transition to that final clip, got lost in the smoke, cuts the corner, and we saw that last night in Pro 2 as well, because the smoke definitely gets thicker when it's nighttime and the lights shine on it. So I think that affected Ken Gucci, causing him to go tight on that line, and then with Ken Gucci, or sorry, Vaughn spinning after the finish line. We'll see how the judges interpret that. Slide him left for Vaughn, right for Ken Gucci. Ryan, Andy, and Brian say Vaughn Gittin Jr. So going to Lantaine, looked like Ken Gucci definitely got affected by the smoke, but Vaughn spun, but it looked to me like it was after the finish line.
Yeah, the finish line are those two tall orange cones at the bottom of the hill. So Vaughn was well past that when he dropped the tire and spun. Mainly why we went with Vaughn is his lead run was a lot cleaner than Gucci's. He got out to outside zone 2, whereas Gucci dropped the tire or 2 up there. Vaughn followed Gucci really well. Gucci dropped the tire there, so did Vaughn. Gucci dropped the tire at inside clip 2, so did Vaughn. He kind of mimicked him all the way around the track and did a really great job. And in Gucci's chase position, he dropped tires where Vaughn didn't. And again, that spin was not really counted towards Vaughn as it was well beyond the finish line.
Thank you, Ryan Lantaine. So speaking on the judges' behalf, this is the second half of the Jones and Field battle. If you can recall, Jones led right thereafter. He called his competition timeout, one and done. You're only allowed one competition timeout for the entirety of the weekend. Jeff Jones utilizes his. Wonder what went wrong. It didn't look like he had any issues, and like I said, he was looking really good in the chase position in practice. Can he mimic that once again? Is he 100% as Matt Field initiates strongly into that first front clip? That Falcon Tires Borla exhaust Corvette built by the Drift Cave. The Beast from the Bay gets that second outer zone tight to that front clip. Just barely scuffing it. And now coming back down the hill into that final front clip. Ryan Matfield looking good out front. Jeff Jones could have been a little closer, but I love the driving.
Well, there's a little bit of separation from Jones to Field on the first lap towards the end, and a little bit of separation here between Field and Jones on this section of the course. Nice job by Field getting into that second outside zone. Here's Jones trying to close the door. He navigates this section really well. He's able to stay tight to Matt Field coming through this final turn, but then Matt pours it on. You can see that final little blast through the finish line. So a good run, 1 and 2 from both guys. And now we go to the judges.
Left for Jones or right for Matt Field. Unfortunately for Jones, he gets knocked out in that next tire. The Doc Edelbrock 370Z. Matt Field continues on in his Falcon Tires Borla exhaust Corvette. The Beast from the Bay moves on. So wonder what's going on with Jeff Jones in his vehicle, but just not enough against Matt Field. Next up, Sebastian Gauthier is going against our defending champion, James Dean, who qualified 4th in yesterday's qualifying. Sebastian Gauthier barely getting in, just there at 29th position. Sebastian from Quebec City. He's back there in that S14. James Dean already on the start line. And James, after a couple events, both at Long Beach and then going into Florida, having some issues with his vehicle, just some odds and ends. I know he had issues with his nitrous. So hopefully he's worked it out. As Dean on the start line, and Gauthier will chase. As our track is getting scrubbed down a little bit here, our course worker just wanted to make sure everything, all the debris was off the track, and looks like track is clear and will be clear to send here in moments. The next entire top 32, run 1, hashtag FDATL for any fans that are here in the building. I know I see a lot of phones out there, so be sure to tag at Formula D and hashtag FDATL. Let everybody know you're out here, or if you're watching the comfort of your own home or workplace or wherever you may be, let everyone know we are live from Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. And here we go, the Wordhouse Drift Team Falcon Tires S15. James Dean transitions in. Sebastian Gauthier with a straight line approach. Might be a little too late there for Seb. And now coming in that first outer zone goes James Dean into the second outer zone. Expecting the lead driver to have a near perfect qualifying run or the best of their ability, and James Dean did exactly that. Sebastian Gauthier punts that final clip. Ryan?
Yeah, Dean has been pretty consistent this weekend, starting to ramp up and build up his case for another podium. He has not had one this year so far, but looking really good here. The car looks dialed. You can see he's able to establish this gap from Sebastian Gauthier, but still maintain all of the judging criteria points, getting out to the outside zones, hitting those inside clips. Nice fluid transitions back around. Gauthier falls off a bit more there towards the end. And watch how quickly you can see Dean gets right back on throttle at that first inside clip, mashes it up the hill here. Gauthier is trying to find an opportunity to attack. He opts to still take that wider line, and he wouldn't have been faulted there for taking a shallower line to try to gain proximity here, because that is the most noticing aspect of this first part of their battle.
Sebastian will now lead James Dean in the rearview mirror of this Quebec driver. Sebastian Gauthier, the second half of this battle. I don't know if this helps Sebastian calm his nerves or make him even more anxious as he's going against the defending two-time champ. James Dean, Sebastian Gauthier now coming in to this first front clip. Big angle from him. James Dean, maybe give himself a little bit of room. Don't know if that's a good strategy, as Sebastian can definitely strike. Gauthier, sounding like Rice Krispies out there. Snap, crackle, pop. Exiting out is Gauthier. James Dean, big angle. He does get to that touch and go. Sebastian does not go to the touch and go. James does. Ryan, I think James could have been a little closer, but I think it was calculated.
Yeah, I think he knew that Gauthier was really far behind. He gave him a little bit of room here. I like Gauthier's attack coming through the S-turns at the bottom and then up here into this second outside zone. Pretty decent job there, but leaves the door right there. This is where we see a lot of compression where both drivers come together, and then usually here the driver with more grip accelerates out forward, but Gauthier goes a little bit wide there on the S-turn coming down. Dean's able to take advantage of it and keep the proximity on through the finish line.
And slide him left for Sebastian Gauthier, or right for James Dean. James Dean gets the victory, and he will move on. Unfortunately for Sebastian Gauthier, he is knocked out. So a few champions already in the mix. Osbo Forsberg getting Dean. Only champion not in that mix, Matt Field. He'd definitely like to be up there. So before we move on to our next battle, Laurent Nickel caught up with the Menace from Long Beach.
Well, 2019 has brought some great changes to Kyle Mohan's life, and you have the RX-8. This is so exciting.
Yeah, we're really happy. We debuted our brand new Mazda RX-8 out at Long Beach, but we had some issues. Orlando, we started to get a little more shook down, and I came out here to Atlanta really just expecting to drive hard, get after it, and that hard driving idea ended up getting me into the wall right before qualifying. And I'm just so grateful that the team, everybody jumped in, and we have a little bit of a new team this year due to circumstances with the new car. And we were able to get it fixed, get out there, qualified, and then we worked late last night and got the whole thing back together. And now we're going up against Odie for our first battle, who's the current points leader. And I'll be honest, I'm out here to upset things. I love the new car. We're making power. And I also have to do a little proving that this event is worth me being here, because my wife's actually at home right now, 9 months past pregnant. And we were actually supposed to deliver our little baby last week, but you know, nature doesn't always play along with Formula D's schedule. So right now my wife's at home, who's usually my spotter. I'm out here, and we're here to go hard. So yeah, for the fans, for the family, for everybody, a new year, new car, and we're just out here having a great time.
Well, all of our love to Adrian at home. You got this. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you so much. Just out here having a blast with Formula D.
Kyle, thanks. Guys.
All right, Adrian, so hold it together. Cheer on your boy. He is coming up here in just one more battle after this. Odie Bakshis and Mohan, our next battle after Dylan Hughes and Dirk Stratton. This should be fun as two young guns, rising stars in the Formula Drift quilt that is, again, Formula Drift. So Dirk Stratton, he's warming up his tires in his Lingenfelter Stratton Chevrolet Achilles tire Corvette. And there is more Achilles tire underneath the vehicle of Dylan Hughes, the Dozer, another member of that blackout team, the Permatex, changing up sponsors every round. So this year got Permatex livery on the side. O'Reilly Auto Parts on the hood. This VA-powered BMW, prepared by himself and Huddy Racing. Dylan Hughes will lead. He qualified 13th. Dirk Stratton qualifying 20th. Here comes the Dozer. He will be leading. Dirk Stratton giving chase. Dylan initiates. Dirk Stratton dips that tire in. Now coming ripping up the hill comes D-Hugh. Into that second outer zone go both the drivers. Dirk Stratton giving him a couple cars here. And now bringing it back down the hill, Dylan into the touch and go. Dirk does as well. Quite a bit of car lengths back, Ryan. Again, Dylan, this is a new car for him, but he's making it look really good.
Yeah, I think he's building confidence here. We saw some great runs from him yesterday, and he's certainly one to watch coming into the Pro Championship this year. You can see he does a great job with that first and second outer zone. As you mentioned, Dirk was a couple car lengths behind. He started to close the door on that first inside clip, but now leaving the horseshoe, this is where we often see a lot of separation. And you see a bit here, Dirk Stratton a few car lengths back and even further right past the finish line. Here it is on board with the drone, you can see as Dirk Stratton navigates through that smoke line, looking for that opportunity to attack, but Dylan just too fast there and still maintaining good judging criteria overall in the lead position.
Man, look at all this Achilles tire smoke. You can see just how thick it is. We saw it last night in Pro 2 competition. You throw those lights on it at night, definitely gets very dense and very difficult to see through. A lot of the drivers actually pausing their beginning of the run because for sight. So right now, Dirk Stratton will now lead the Dagger against the Dozer. Oh, and look at this in line as, was there contact there? Don't know if there was contact. What happened here between Dirk and Dylan Hughes? Dylan continues on through the course, and they're gonna shut him down by design. So that caution flag there because we go counter course. So definitely don't want to have any incidents. So let's take a look at this replay here, Ryan. The Magnuson supercharged Lingenfelter Corvette in the kitty litter.
Well, right here, it looks like there was something, yeah, a little bump there. And you can see the cars move. So that's where all of the judging is gonna come into play, right?
Yeah, the judges are gonna review it. Who's at fault? Because, you know, was Dylan being too aggressive? Was Dirk kind of delaying his? Did he, you know, at what point did he initiate? I'm sure the judge will look at it again because the judges request them to initiate, you know, by what cone is it? By the last standing yellow cone. So as we look overhead here, you can see on the right-hand side, boom, that's a bump.
So yeah, well, that's confirmed now. And I think the things to keep in mind in terms of the initiation, the lead driver does have the right of way. Dylan was behind him, so he was clearly giving Dirk the right of way.
To one cone. So he's just about initiating about that one cone.
And it could be, you know, just an issue of timing potentially. You know, spotters will often say he's been initiating at this cone, he's been initiating at this cone, but now it's all the work for the judges to do now in interpreting this call.
Okay, while the judges actually assess who's at fault here, we'll throw it to a quick interview here with Federico Sharifo. Lorette?
Well, Fede, you told me that you had a minor issue that was your clutch on Thursday, but you battled against it, and you're out here ready to go.
Super ready. Yeah. I'm super ready, super excited. I love the track. I haven't got so many laps under my belt, but I fake to know it very well, and it looks like I'm doing it good, you know. We have Peter, the first battle, amazing driver, amazing car. I'm not scared at all, but I can't wait to face him, and it's going to be a very good and genuine European battle.
And where's your comfort level with this track?
Over the moon. I mean, I love it. It looks like an American Nürburgring. I mean, I love it. Up and down, the trees, the forest. I love it. I just love it, really.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Guys.
Love the race suit, and as he loves that track and loves this track. So slide him left for Dirk Stratton, right for Dylan Hughes, Ryan, Andy, Bryan. So it looks like Dirk Stratton will unanimously get the win and throw into Ryan Lontaine. Lontaine, I have to assume that hit. Dylan Hughes was at fault, but I'm gonna have you elaborate.
Yes, sir, he was. You can see in the replay, thanks to that wonderful drone footage, that as soon as Dirk Stratton started to initiate, it looks like Dylan tried to get himself in close, but didn't quite initiate and rear-ended Dylan. Dirk, sorry.
Yep, no
sending Dirk off the track at inside clip 1. So we did put Dylan at fault for that, as he was not doing what he was supposed to do in that area. Didn't really give Dirk Stratton the best opportunity to put together a good lead and send him off track.
Yeah, I think if he just gave himself a little bit more room, allowing Dirk to initiate. Yeah, that's a bummer for Dylan Hughes, but Dirk Stratton is definitely stoked right now. I mean, that's not the way you want to win, but he knew he was going to have a battle after yesterday's driver qualifying position announcement. They were super stoked to go against each other. Again, a lot of these guys, friends off the track, party, you know, crush some adult libations, but, you know, when it comes to the battle on track, they definitely want to go for it. So, Dirk Stratton, the Dagger, will move on in his Lingenfelter Achilles tire, Stratton Chevrolet Corvette, a.k.a. the Drift Vet. So Lorette had some words with Kyle Mohan. Adrian, here you go. Hold on one more day at least. Maybe we'll see the little Mohan on Mother's Day when Kyle can return home. And speaking of babies, Bakshis, Amy, and Odie, the Bakshis family, growing from 3 to 4 just about a month ago. A couple months ago now, right? But Odie Bakshis, our current points leader. He won at round 1 in Long Beach. He won in Orlando. He, of course, is your points leader, and he is just a fierce competitor. The caliber of driving we're seeing from Odie Bakshis is definitely one to watch. But Kyle Mohan wants to play spoiler and rein in his parade. Oh, don't say the R word. Sorry, apologize. As Mohan, the American Ethanol, Top 1 Oil, Mazda Tricks, Mazda RX-8. Warm up his tires back there. And of course the signature teal and blue Falcon tires livery on the Falcon field suspension S14.5. And it looks like we are ready to send it. Happy birthday to AJ Anderson. Happy birthday, buddy. 21, man. Drinks on you at Taco Mac. Here we go. Odie Bakshis, Kyle Mohan. First portion of this battle, Kyle Mohan launches off. For all you Rotary fans out here, last star fighter, the last Wanko fighter. Oh, and a big separation already out of the gate as Odie Bakshis pulling away in that S14. Walking and up into that first outer zone and then into that second outer zone. Mohan shortens it up to gain some ground as Odie, showing you why he is our current points leader, just puts the car in all the right places. Kyle Mohan struggling to keep pace.
Yeah, just not getting the jump out of the gate that he wanted, and Odie with all that grip and speed just blasting away. You can see making his way up the hill. Big separation here. We still see Kyle in the picture, but as they get into this section, the crunching section of the course right there on that inside clip, he's able to bring it back around a little bit, but then Odie is gone again. Big smoke line there from Bakshis, and now we will switch things up. Here we see Mohan trying to close the door there, coming through that section of the keyhole to try to gain proximity, but Odie Bakshis has already passed the finish line, so big separation there for a good chunk of the course. And now it'll be Kyle Mohan's turn as he'll take the lead here.
Kyle Mohan out front in that RX-8. I think the real deciding factor for Odie to have this points lead and those 2 wins is his chasing. He is just looks like Mohan having some issues here, or was that a jump? Did he jump the light? All right, so Mohan did jump the light. That will be a strike against Mohan. And he'll pull back up to the line. Ryan just really pleased with at least seeing some dry runs here. Don't want to curse it, but we were going to bed last night thinking we're just going to wake up to absolute moisture. So even just getting a few runs in. Here we go. Kyle Mohan initiates. Whoa, Odie Bakshis right there. A bit of a straight line approach, really locking him up as Mohan, but Odie keeps his composure. Mohan ripping up the hill. Oh, and Odie taps him. Mohan stays in it. 2 gladiators on the track as Mohan comes to a halt. Ryan. Uh-oh. Yeah, this could be very detrimental to our points leader, but did Kyle Mohan stall?
Well, remember, that area is part of the decel zone, so we need to see the flow of speed from Kyle Mohan, but in general, you have 2 decel zones. One right here, it's expected. There's a real big slowdown there by Kyle coming through that first inside clip, and then the other one is coming up here as a ready to lift and then get into that area to get into that outside zone. So a tough break there for both drivers, but potentially, depending on the way this goes, a tough break for Odie Bakshis, but certainly
Well, what's interesting there, like you said, the decel zone, watch the smoke trail, and that's just an indicator of on power or the wheel speed, right? So you can see there's quite a bit of departure from the vehicles, right? There's a gap. Odie comes ripping in, but Kyle Mohan's smoke trail, it definitely, as you said, he's in the decel zone. He can slow down. Watch the smoke trail.
Yeah, it's supposed
it goes absent.
And the decel zone is something that is put out in front of the driver so they know where that lead driver is expected to slow. That said, it doesn't mean that you can go crawling through.
Come to a halt.
Yeah.
Right. So as the judges assess who's at fault. Yeah, I mean, you know, another indicator here is this is where spotter comes into play. I know that, you know, Amy's normally his spotter. Now a Falcon Tire employee, that is J. Brad.
To the threshold.
Well, we saw it last night as well. You know, we saw that. Yeah, so slowing down quite a bit there. That's fine. So look at Kyle. Just turn it back on. Walk us through it, Ryan.
Going up the hill here, and then this is where we see the contact. So everything in the battle is going to be about that portion of the run. The inside clip number 1, because nothing happened there, is not really going to factor in, right? It's just we're just going to be able to say, well, Kyle was slow there, but nothing happened. He made a mistake, et cetera, et cetera. But because the run ends here, this is where the judges have to do all their work.
Well, look how shallow Kyle is, too. Look where he's going in. He's going about mid-line. He wasn't set up to go to the outside zone.
Right.
So it's almost insult to injury where, yes, he did decel. Odie was coming at him hot, but he's taking a shallower line, and he's not speeding up. So all those things taken into consideration, you know, unfortunately, I'm kind of leaning towards the side that Kyle, you know, might have slowed down, and looks like that would be the case. So Odie Bakshi does get the victory. Again, Adrian, maybe we'll throw Kyle on a red eye to get home, but it looks like Kyle Mohan's day is done. Going to you, Lontaine, and am I correct in saying just kind of all those things accumulated to Kyle just crawling through that section, and Odie can do nothing but hit him?
Exactly. That's not an area where we want drivers to stall up that much, slow down that significantly. He wasn't on a line that would have taken him out to outside zone 2. You could see that he was slowing a lot. There was no smoke. So we all deemed Kyle at fault for that just because of the extreme slowdown in that area. It's not an area to slow down that much. It's just an area to check your speed, get back on throttle, and get out of there.
Yeah, just to gather your thoughts, control the car, fill that outer zone, and rock it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like gathering your thoughts. That's exactly what I want to do in a decel area.
Yeah, I'm like,
I think I'll decel here now.
I am decelling. I'm gonna have a sandwich later. Hold on. Thoughts. Come, gather around. Grab a knee. Thoughts.
Hey, truth be told.
You know what? Lies be sold. Oh, cool. We got the honey pot here. Nice. All right, moving on to our next battle. Ryan, these two gentlemen definitely of the kind of JDM affinity, right? You got Forrest Wang, who has the V-Hate sticker, and he wears that and flies that flag proudly. He's got the 2JZ under the hood and of the hood of the Nissan, but I mean, Burkett is like the Supra guy. I mean, his cars always look the style. Happy birthday to his wife Renee the other day as well. As here we go, Forrest Wang and Rat Dan Burkett. Forrest Wang initiating into right there. Nice job, both these guys. Look at the chrome shining, chrome wheels spinning into that second outer zone, into the keyhole. Burkett slides into formation, makes some noise for Forrest Wang, and Burkett coming out of the keyhole. Some serious Nexon and Achilles tire smoke ripping around the track. We got 4 JZs, not 2 JZs.
It's unbelievable the amount of smoke these two guys are making. Almost from any angle, it was hard to see him coming out of the keyhole, but a great job by Forrest. Huge angle there. And look at Dan Burkett not backing down. He stays with him coming up the hill, tries to minimize that separation. Forrest goes deep into that zone. Surging is Dan Burkett, taking that inside line there, trying to close proximity. Now watch, Burkett's going to get up on the inside here to try to stay as close as he can to Forrest. Nice transition back around. A little bit of a flub there from Burkett, but I love the aggressiveness. If he's going to make a mistake, you'd rather be in proximity and while being aggressive. Here they are going up the hill. Forrest right out to that outside zone. Here comes Burkett. Ooh,
yeah.
Surging forward there, and then he has to back off. You get a good display of the degree of angle comparison between those two when he did surge, and then that was that second surge there. So now we let the smoke clear out of here as we will switch things up with Dan Burkett going the lead, Forrest Wang to the chase.
Yeah, Burkett almost exceeded the front nose of Forrest Wang, but that's, as you said, that aggressiveness. And with Forrest Wang just very smooth, like you said, Ryan, a lot of expectation, a lot of the drivers just preparing for what they're going to expect from that lead driver. And Burkett did a really good job there. As you said, if you're going to make that mistake, just go ahead and be aggressive. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. Here we go. Dan Burkett out front. And Forrest Wang in that chase position. On that front clip, Forrest Wang right there behind him. And Dan Burkett powering up the hill into that first outer zone, into that second outer zone. Forrest Wang takes a shallower line, Ryan. Dan Burkett through the keyhole and outside. As Forrest Wang tucks into that smoke trail and Burkett transitions into that final clip. Burkett and Wang, a solid run there. Make some noise, Atlanta.
This would be a massive upset if if Burkett was able to beat Wang here. He slingshots out. Both drivers initiate at the same time. Forrest doing a great job staying with him through that first inside clip, now transitioning up the hill. Here comes Burkett, maxing out the throttle. Nice angle here by Burkett, gets out to that outside zone. Forrest, a little bit of a tighter line. Right here through this inside clip, through the smoke line. Massive plume of smoke by both drivers. You can see driving back, a little bit of a correction there by Burkett in the front, and then a tiny bit of separation here towards the end. Look at this right there. Both drivers very, very close on that inside clip. Forrest, good proximity there through inside clip number 1. And then Forrest here on that nice line. A little bit tighter, however. Burkett goes a little bit wide on that inside clip, now coming down the hill here. And this is a battle, everybody. The judges have a tough call here.
Wang had a big correction there as well on that touch and go. You saw the car kind of straighten out in the transition. Yeah, I mean, just a great battle. Make some noise if you would, Atlanta and around the world. Forrest Wang and Burkett. Slide them left for Dan Burkett or right for Forrest Wang. And Forrest Wang gets the win unanimously. As I want to get some clarification here from Ryan Lontaine. Ryan Lontaine going to you unanimously. Forrest Wang getting the win. Some people are screaming one more time. I mean, what do you think? I mean, obviously, I know what you think. Go ahead.
Do you know what I think, Jared?
That I'm a very handsome man. And,
yes, absolutely.
Yes. Okay, go ahead.
You're great at your job. Just a better job overall from Forrest in the lead position. Did a better job coming up the hill. If you compare where Forrest was to where, darn, I'm spacing on names. Dan Burkett, he missed outside zone 1. Didn't do as good of a job on outside zone 2 either. And in Burkett's chase position, he dropped tires in a couple of areas where he should not have, especially coming out of the horseshoe area. He dropped 1, potentially 2 tires there, and made a couple of other little mistakes throughout the course.
All right, thank you very much. So, all right, so real quick, an interview with Travis Reeder. He's up next.
Well, we have been talking about this car since Long Beach, and Travis Reeder, the debut of the electric Camaro, the EL1, it's finally here. Where's your confidence here at Road Atlanta?
I mean, the car's so crazy, right, that just the fact that we're out here and we're in the show in the 32, my confidence is through the roof because the car's holding together, minimal issues, we're progressing super fast, the team's kicking ass. So, I mean, we're at an all-time high, the whole team, and we're just ready to go out and put on a show and show you guys what the EL1 does.
That's awesome. Good luck.
Thank you.
Guys.
All right, so making history here. Making history with this vehicle, the Camaro EL1, the first ever electric vehicle in Formula Drift competition. He qualified yesterday, and it's the first time we're seeing it. The Napoleon Motorsports turnkey team vying for their S13 on the first round in Long Beach, then in Orlando, and now here going against Chelsea Denofa. And Denofa, this is going to be a hard act to follow, literally, as Chelsea has been on fire. He qualified second. He went from that 0 to a 98 on his second run. And he got a podium at our previous round here in Orlando, and here we go. Both these guys from the Pacific Northwest. And here we go, Denofa and Reeder. Denofa initiates. And a good All-American battle as well, but quite a contrast from the V8, normally under the hood of the Camaro, as Denofa comes up the hill. Travis Reeder getting left in the dust right now, and now through the keyhole. And exiting out is Denofa. Reader now exiting down. It's electric, Woogie Woogie, as now Denofa brings it around.
Yeah, really the only car you're going to hear out there is Denofa.
Right. So, Ryan, let's take a look at it again.
Yeah, here it is, Denofa taking that lead, initiating at the second standing cone, back on throttle extremely early. Reader trying to hold pace, and you can see Denofa's got big angle coming into outside zone 2, threads the needle perfectly right there. Reader trying to hold the zone through that inside clip. Coming through the smoke line is Reader, but Denofa is back on it. Nice snap back around, good positioning on the track. Here they are coming up the hill. You can see Reader struggling trying to gain proximity. I like how he was trying to cut the line a little bit to gain proximity, rather have him be close and so far back, and at least have him in the fight, even if he has to take a deduction, comparatively speaking, for that. But now, we'll mix things up, Jared, and what we've seen with some of the cars that maybe go up against a car that has more grip and more power, it's actually a challenge for the more grip and more power car to figure out, when do I start reeling him in? How much of a gap do I give him so I don't make contact with him or get stuck or get pinched off, those kind of things.
Yeah, that was, I mean, when we started debuting the top 32, the departure from 32 to 1 was very far, but now it's gotten closer. But now, with no track time of head-to-head on this vehicle outside of practice earlier today, Chelsea Denofa really has to kind of temper his aggression here. But Travis Reader looking great out front. Travis Reader throwing it down. Again, the only car you're hearing is that of Chelsea Denofa and that exhaust note, but of course the screeching of the tires as the Napoleon Motorsports Camaro transitions through. And again, making history, the first ever head-to-head battle of an electric vehicle, but Chelsea Denofa just a great drive.
Well, he played that pretty perfectly, Jared. He gave a little bit of room to Reader to see how he was going to react in the lead position. Then he slowly started reeling him in. Reader was doing a pretty good job here in that second outside zone. Denofa right here backing off to the rear of the vehicle of Reader, and then right there tucking up on the inside. Let's take a look here coming up the hill. Denofa is eyeing that opportunity to attack. You can see a little bit of a flub there from Reader as he got into the keyhole. This is where Reader hits that inside clip. Denofa backs off for a second, and then he comes through the smoke line, gets right up on the inside door of Travis Reader. Good transition back around, mimicking very well, and then keeps the pressure on.
All right, slide him left for Reader on those Nitto tires, or right for Chelsea Denofa, and the BC Racing Nitto tires Mustang RTR Spec 5D gets the win. Chelsea Denofa will be moving on. So unfortunately for Reader and the debut of that vehicle, it's short-lived, but still, again, such a step in progression from 2004 to now 2019. We are seeing our first ever electric car in Formula Drift competition. Ryan, quite a landmark moment here.
Yeah, no doubt about it, and you have to really give a lot of credit where credit's due for the team. They battled through the first two events, weren't able to make Long Beach, and that wasn't necessarily their fault at all. And then the second event decided to go with the backup car, finally make it out here to Road Atlanta. It's very fitting that they do drift it here at Road Atlanta for the first time.
Oh, isn't that crazy? Yeah, great point. Here we go. Patrick Gooden versus Justin Pollock. Gooden and Pollock as Good will lead. Strong, good angle there from Gooden into that first outer zone. Pollock having a hard time keeping pace. And now into that front clip out of the keyhole. Gooden powering down through the touch and go. Great angle from Pat Gooden as Justin Pollock. And, you know, as Pat Gooden, I got to tell you, I hung out with him last weekend in Las Vegas. He's gotten a lot of confidence behind the wheel of this vehicle.
Well, not only that, he says this is the best car that I've ever driven. And you can see Justin Pollock gets a little bit offline there in the chase position. Now he's playing catch up. He's got a huge angle here, but Pat Gooden is filling all the zones, especially that second outside zone. That was perfect. Great transition back around here. Now coming down the hill, here comes Pollock trying to close this door. Big angle from Pat Gooden out front, and a nice battle to start here. Let's take a look at Justin coming up the hill. A little bit less angle there, or tighter line rather, for a second. Then he's able to close the door here, but Pat Gooden was filling those zones completely and looking very strong in the lead position. So Pat Gooden making a name for himself against the veteran JTP.
And it's great to see Pat re-enter into the Formula Drift competition. Not only him, but of course the lovable Donna, his mom, as she is just just such a cheerleader of his, and I love the stories that Pat shares with me about his and his mom's relationship. So here we go, Justin Pollock, Pat Gooden, Justin Pollock out front with that fresh air, the Performance Falcon tire, Ford Mustang into that front clip. Justin Pollock, good execution there. Now coming up the hill, definitely alternating positions as Pat a little closer than Justin was, but Justin getting all the way to the outside zone, and now into that front clip, coming out. Here comes Pollock, and Pat out, exiting out, some distance between them, and into that final front clip. Makes some noise for Justin Pollock and Pat Gooden.
On that run, Pat was definitely in the fight for 3/4 of the run. Look at this, very aggressive approach in the chase. Justin back on early. Here comes Pat Gooden on the inside, but Pollock roaring up the hill here. Gooden closing the door, and then right there he falls offline for a second. Pat Gooden in the chase, that is, and Justin Pollock, big angle here. And then this is where you're gonna see the separation. So Gooden falls back a little bit here towards the end, but he was definitely in that fight. He had a great lead run, and this is gonna be another tough one for the judges here. Here you see right here, Pat is just a little bit deeper on that line, but he's still able to get back around, keep the proximity tight through that inside clip. And then this is where Justin lays the throttle down and pulls a little bit of a gap here towards the end.
All right, awaiting the judges' outcome here. The sun starts blasting us here. We had a nice cloud cover there for a little bit. The sun definitely intense. Ryan, Pat, Justin Pollock, just that was a great battle.
One more time?
Maybe. It could be Pat, could be Justin, it could be one more time. I mean, those are only 3 options.
That's it, that's all we got.
That's it, that's all. Here we go, slide him right for Pat Gooden, left for Justin Pollock. Ryan says Pat Gooden, and look at that! Pat Gooden gets the win. A great effort by Justin Pollock. Look at this, so Riley Auto Parts Road to the Championship presented by Permatex. Welcome back here at round 3 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. I'm Jared Dean, I'm joined by Ryan Sage as we have just a few more battles left. 2, 4, 6, what do we appreciate? 2, 4, 6, 6 more battles left in the top 32. Ryan, how you feeling, bud?
Yeah, looking pretty solid so far. We've got a nice little left side of the bracket filled in. Yep. 2 battles into the right-hand side of the bracket, so Denofa will be taking on Pat Gooden in the top 16, and we still have 4 more battles to go. No, 6 more battles to go.
Denofa, Gooden, yeah, 6 more battles to go. So our next battle, this is Daijiro Yoshihara, and that one of those handful of FD veterans going against Ryan Littoral, who's campaigning a vehicle, the Power Stop Koro Works 350Z. Dai Yoshihara here in this turn 14 distribution. Falcon tires, BRZ on Ineos oil. And into that front clip. Ryan Littoral chasing him down. Both these guys with the V8 power. Into that outer zone go both the vehicles. On the front clip, exiting out, Littoral right there on the door of Dai Yoshihara. Littoral transitions into that final clip. And some aggressive driving, very clean up front is Dai Yoshihara, but Littoral aggressive in that chase.
Like I said, Jared, we would love to see drivers be over aggressive and make mistakes and be far behind. Dai, silky smooth out front. Littoral, like you said, pouring it on, almost coming close to making contact there with Daijiro Yoshihara.
Super close.
Now snapping through, he takes that inside line here, and he gets right in the pocket next to Dai. Dai transitions back around, Littoral transitions, mimics it perfectly. As you see, Dai very deep into that first outside zone. Here's Littoral here. Beautiful shot on board with the drone now coming through that inside clip. This is where Littoral tucks in here. He's going to drop just at the left front and a little bit of the right front there. But, you know, overall, the aggression played very, very well there for him.
Yeah, liked what Littoral was doing. Now he's going to be out front. Dai Yoshihara in that chase position. Littoral from the 909, flying that ATL flag on the roof. The Rocket Man that is, I call him Elton. I don't know what we decided on his real name, but I like Rocket Man Elton on the roof ATL. Here we go. Ryan Littoral out front. Dai Yoshihara in that chase position. Littoral initiates in the first front clip. Dai Yoshihara tucks in. Now Littoral bringing it up the hill. All the way to outside zone. First and second. Dai Yoshihara even going deeper. Look at Dai Yoshihara now chasing him down. We got a dogfight. Oh! And coming out of the keyhole, Want to take a look at that? I switched from the monitor over to actually utilizing the naked eye, and let's take a look. Was contact made, or did we have a spin out from Literal?
Well, I could not see from that vantage point. I think Literal may have spun, but that was just from the way that the car looked going into the keyhole or coming out of the keyhole. You can see Dye is very close here. Literal on the transition back around, and then right there you can see as he's transitioning, it looks like he may have just overextended, but we'll get a better look here.
We go. This is it.
Right, yeah, he spun.
Oh, he spun. Oh. So there was no contact made. Literal just came out hot and heavy out of the keyhole. There was no contact prior either. Watch this transition. Dye allows him to transition, and unfortunately for Literal, he spins out and rotates right here. Whoop. Scoopity loop. Loop to scoop. Scoop the loop. So slide him left for Literal or right for Daijiro Yoshihara. And unfortunately for that power stop, CoroWorks 350Z, he has knocked out Ryan Literal, but Dai Yoshihara gets the win and advances on his turn 14 distribution, Falcon Tires Subaru BRZ. So some great effort there by Ryan Literal. Unfortunately, he spins, but man, hat tip to him. I love the way Ryan Literal is driving. He's definitely keeping it lit for the CoroWorks Power Stop team. So close for Ryan Literal. But Dai Yoshihara moves on. 5 more battles left in top 32. An all BMW battle here. 2 very similar driving styles from Hilbrun and Michael Essa. These BMWs, 2 very different engine setups though. Hilbrun vying for the V8 and Michael Essa going for the Bimmer engine. As Michael Essa will lead Essa Autosports, Achilles Tire, BMW comes out of the chicane, Alex Hilbrun, Nitto Tires, Inca Madness Racing, the IMR BMW. Into the front clip goes both Beamers, and look at that, Hilbrun tucks in, but Essa now pulling away. Always love the smooth driving of Michael Essa as Hilbrun. I talk about their similar driving styles. I kind of correct myself. Hilbrun gets some violent rocket of that vehicle as Essa. I always talk about how smooth he is, and it doesn't look that fast, but he is actually ripping.
Well, I love this approach here by both drivers. Essa back on throttle there. You can see Hilbrun in the chase, flowing just a little bit longer, and he gives a little bit of room here to Michael Essa. Beautiful job by Essa in that second outside zone. Here comes Hilbrun, a little bit less angle there into the inside clip. And this is where we see some of the separation. We tend to see that out of the keyhole from some drivers that don't get that right line. That was definitely a topic of conversation in the drivers meeting. But here you can see Hilbrun was on, he pushed a little bit wide there. Didn't hurt him too much. He was still able to keep relative pace to Michael Essa, but Essa's not really making any mistakes out front. You can see a little bit less angle there from Hilbrun on that inside clip. And then this is where Essa really maxes out the throttle. You get this bigger separation coming down through that final inside clip. And then there's Hilbrun finally in the frame.
All right, so only one half of this battle left as Hilbrun will now lead. Michael Essa will give chase. Remember, halftime, you get to meet and greet your favorite drivers, open paddock, so go say hi. I know I'll be partying down there with the Gum Out guys. Here we go, Hilbrun out front, Essa in that chase position. Hilbrun initiates. Onto that front clip go both the drivers. Hilbrun with that maxed out angle, that definitely looked sick. And Hilbrun comes into that second outer zone, just flirting with the dirt in there. Trying to blast the sand people there with the sand blaster, and Hilbrun rips out of the keyhole and brings it up the hill. Ryan, I mean, 2 rocket ships of vehicles, man.
Well, Hilbrun may have brought the scales back to neutral or in his favor here. You can see both drivers get a good jump. Hilbrun absolutely on fire, maxed out angle, pulls a little bit of separation from Michael Essa. Essa makes a little bit of adjustment in the chase, and he went deeper into that second outside zone. And this is a pretty similar aspect of the run that we saw in run number 1 here, with the separation coming down the hill, but this time it's in Hilbrun's favor, and Hilbrun crosses the finish line. Watch as he exits the keyhole here. He's on the throttle, very heavy. Michael Essa on the inside there, trying to close the door, but Hilbrun is gone, and he passes through the finish line. doing a great job in the lead position.
Let's go to the judges, Hilbrun or Essa, or are they going one more time? 5 battles left, including this one. 4 if we get a deciding factor here. 4 battles after this if we have a winner in this battle. Left for Hilbrun, right for Essa. Ryan says one more time, Andy says Hilbrun, and Brian says one more time. So they are going at it again. This is a one more time battle between Essa and Hilbrun. I definitely agree there as, again, Ryan. So as we have 4 more battles left, Lorette Nickel caught up with, I have to assume, a very happy man, Donna's son, Pat Gooden.
Well, Pat Gooden just said, what do you want me to do? To get out of the car, sit in. He decided to sit in because all of that energy is being harnessed, staying in the car. Pat Gooden, you take the win. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. This is the best car in the entire world. Matt and Drift Cave and Part Shop Max and on the Achilles, like, this is the best car that is here. I will bet money on it. Man. It's so good.
What's so amazing is the video that came out after Orlando, your sheer exuberance and joy of driving this car, and it's showing.
Yeah, and like, yeah, the run was good. It was a 97, but like, it was just driving this and feeling what a drift car is supposed to feel like and feeling everything. And in 2016, I ran my own program and it was terrible. 17, that's a whole nother issue. And we didn't make one top 16 and the car was always broken. And now it's just, I'm in this perfect machine that is perfect.
We are so happy for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Guys.
I don't know what to do with my hands. Just psyched, dude. You can just feel it. I mean, we're both smiling and giggling up here.
Yeah, I love it, man. The enthusiasm, the happiness. I mean, that right there, that's a moment. That's a life moment right there.
I'm tearing up a little bit. I'm happy for him, man. And that's the spirit of drifting, right? I mean, you know, I'll just put it out there. You're not going to get rich racing cars. You know, how do you make $1 million in racing? You start with 2. That's kind of the running joke, right? Definitely there are drivers that do it and succeed and monetize this passion, but that passion sometimes and that cup and that being filled and that fulfillment, that joy, that ecstasy is just sometimes moments like that.
You're not choosing this life unless you have a high degree of passion. Let's just put it that way.
There you go. I appreciate it. All right, here we go. Ryan Turk versus João Berillon. João from Brazil, behind this Barbarious Monster Energy C7 Corvette, another vehicle prepared by Drift Cave, and João, a champion in his native Brazil. He's going against Ryan Turk, who I gotta say is very smooth, very clean. He qualified 3rd in this Gumout Toyota Racing Toyota 86, and he's on those middle tires. They're sticky, icky. Here we go. As Ryan Turk initiates into that first front clip, and João kind of overshooting that front clip in that chase position. Now into that first outer zone goes Ryan Turk, into the second, and now into the front clip goes Turk and João. Not too far behind is João as he exits out. Ryan Turk maxing out that angle and that smoke trail. Thick, very thick there for Ryan Turk. Ryan?
Well, Turk gets a good jump here as we take a look at the replay. Let's see exactly what transpired with João in the chase position. Looks like he just fell a little bit behind after he pushed too hard through that inside clip, was not able to make up ground. Turk, meanwhile, out front, nice solid line. Could have been a little bit deeper into that second outside zone, but there's some pretty sizable mistakes there from João, and he's not maintaining proximity either, so he's giving a strong advantage here to Ryan Turk on run number 1, and I think really the challenge for Turk as he goes to the chase position is to just really temper himself as much as he possibly can in not knowing exactly how it is going to be to drive with João in the lead position. So brand new driver to the series. We've had a few practice runs with the rest of the field, but obviously wanting to make sure that you take that advantage. You can see João really going off course there on the transition back around and almost 3 tires off there. So mixing things up, João will now go to the lead, and Ryan Turk will take the chase position.
Well, you could see out there was quite a bit of dirt thrown from the keyhole as they exited João. You talked about almost 3 tires off there, so we are going to clean up the track as João will now lead. Ryan Turk will give chase. All right, so we are back here, and as the rain comes down, we were preparing our camera equipment for the rain, just making sure everything's okay. So what we're going to be doing here is actually we're going to allow the drivers a sighting lap. So what this means is we went from dry conditions as we have again, we had dry conditions, some moisture hit the track, so want to make sure they don't just go throwing it in and just risk going off course.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to predict what will happen here in this particular part of Brazelton, but just looking at the overall, not really seeing any rain in the forecast, which is unbelievable given that it was 100%. However, if there is a little bit of rain coming down, we do want to give them the opportunity to check the grip levels on the track because it can be impacted even by a small amount. And you can see there's enough rain coming down to where that seems a reasonable thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, it seems super minimal. I mean, we're actually in a plastic box of emotion here. We're covered with these plastic windows, and it's I don't see any actually hitting the windscreens. So I believe. So okay, it is confirmed. There will be a sight lap. So basically, this is for these drivers to just go through the course and check the conditions of the surface, and don't want them just ripping through the course. So again, this is a sight lap just to check conditions. And,
you can see even just a little bit of rain what it does. And so that was a good.
Yeah, look at no smoke coming off the cars. This isn't, and truth be told, this isn't intended to be a drifting lap. This is just to, kind of get a feel for it,
Yeah, it's intended just to make sure that they understand what the track conditions are at any given moment. Track conditions can change with, with heat and a lot of other factors, but those drivers are prepared for that. The rain is a different story, and their setups are actually for dry conditions, so we want to make sure that they get a good feeling for it. I think we are going to get super lucky, though, and not have rain for the remainder of the event, just from what I'm seeing here in the local conditions and looking at some of the radar maps.
Knock on wood.
Yeah,
knock on
I've been
something,
knocking
dude.
on wood all weekend.
I know. As we go back to the top of the hill, Joao Berrion and Ryan Turk back up top of the hill for the second half of this battle. So we have 4 more battles left because we have the one more time of Essa and Hilbrun. And then the second half of this battle here. So still plenty of tires to burn and battles to turn. Joao Berrion, he will lead from Brazil, the Barbaris Monster Energy C7 Corvette. And comes out in that lead position. So like I said, look at that, Ryan. I mean, minimal smoke coming from these cars. They're making more steam than they are smoke into that second outer zone. Ooh, Joao looked like almost fell out of drift, but then he transitions. The Achilles tires kicking up. Now some smoke coming off the Nitto tires of Ryan Turk. So the speed's tremendously slowing down for these drivers, but they do navigate it properly. But Ryan, that is the exact reason for that siding lap. If they would have come in there from that dry run to this, they would have shot off into the kitty litter.
Yeah, for sure, and we've seen that, and this is something that we regularly do. We have it in the rules. We allow for siding laps if the track conditions change. We obviously don't like to do it because it slows down the show, but we have to think about the safety of the drivers and also just giving them an opportunity to compete at the best possible level. So if you remember going back to run number 1, Joao had some problems in the chase position. This time around, both drivers really slowing it down. Turk was able to stick with him throughout the remainder of that run in his chase position, and now we'll make it official here. And all 3 judges slide to the right, so Ryan Turk gets the win and moves on into the top 16.
Yeah, so Joao Berrion, our Formula Drift rookie. The rain continues to come down. It's not very heavy, but it's just enough to saturate the track and really change the dynamics for these vehicles. So I believe we're going to institute sight laps for the remaining 4 battles. And you have to think, for that one more time battle of Hilbrun and Essa, they had absolutely ideal conditions. Dry, hot, it's ready to rip, but now it is misted. So Essa and Hilbrun. All right, so yeah, here's Essa. So they will take a sight lap here. So just lay out, and Ryan, what do you got?
I'm just looking at the radar here. It looks like there's a little bit of a cell that's going to move over us and be gone, and then from 7 to 11 p.m., at least right now, it's showing clear.
That is great news, buddy. Great news. right, so this side lap here for Essa and Hilbrun. So it is definitely coming down, Ryan. Ryan, Mother Nature, you know, we were talking about, you know, somebody playing spoiler, Kyle Mohan playing spoiler earlier today. Spoiler for our remaining drivers. You know, we have this battle. Hilbrun and Essa, but our remaining drivers, Dean Carney is going against Matt Kaufman. Peter Visick, who's in top 5, he's going against Federico Sharifo. That could be a great equalizer because Federico, you know, compared to Peter Visick, it seems that there's a little bit of a departure there, and you know, just, I mean, you know, a Ferrari as opposed to a 2JZ S15. A little bit of departure there. Federico, a lot of confidence on his side, but as far as vehicle and preparedness, that might be a great equalizer for him. And then Kazuya Taguchi versus Jonathon Castro. Taguchi's on it, but I tell you what, Castro is king of Orlando. He might not have ever won there, but man, I'll tell you what, he is like, he feels just right at home. I guess it's the closest home track here in the States, as he's from DR. So Mother Nature could play spoiler. Windshield wipers are on. Helmets and gloves, kitted and committed. Here we go. The one more time battle between Essa and Hilbrun. The battle of the BMWs. A little slow drip here into that first front clip. Go both the drivers. Quite a contrast, right, from that first battle they had. Now going to this one more time. That's a great example here. Now coming in. Good thing here is the smoke trail, not a factor. We saw so much smoke kicking off these cars in their first battle. Now coming down the hill comes Essa, a wide swing. Doesn't get out to that touch and go. You wonder what kind of modifications and adjustments the other remaining battles and the other vehicles are making right now. They're like, oh boy, batten down the hatches.
Yep, no question about it. They'll be switching over setups or making adjustments as best they possibly can. Both drivers get through that first inside clip pretty close together. Now Essa on the throttle here, trying to move away from Alex Hilbrun, but still hitting that first outside zone and the second outside zone. He comes up a little bit short there. Hilbrun trying to close the door here, trying to find as much grip as he can in these wet conditions. Now transitioning down the hill, Michael Essa finds that wide line, makes a little bit of adjustment. Hilbrun trying to follow him, stay close, and both drivers stay on course through the finish line. Here you see Essa entering the keyhole midline. Hilbrun following him on his exact line. Essa tight on that inside clip. Hilbrun trying to gain as much proximity as he can, and I think proximity is going to be a big factor in the wet conditions. Being very close has got to be extremely nerve-wracking, but far away it may not get the job done.
Yeah, it's just going to show the car control more than anything, because just the overall impact and all that. So, as you say, proximity is going to be, I think, I agree with you, the equalizer. Hilbrun out front, and a lot of, see, look at that water being sprayed off, the steam. Into that first front clip goes Hilbrun. Essa approaching that first outer zone. Hilbrun, greater degree of angle now into that second outer zone. And Essa, Ryan, that's what you're talking about right here. Let's see if he allows him to transition. He does. Now Hilbrun sliding down the hill. Essa right there. A tighter line there from Hilbrun on that touch and go. And Ryan, so much rubber being laid down. It was hot, there's all this rubber, then throw some water on it. It's like an oil slick.
Yeah, it's a much different track that the drivers are having to navigate through, trying to find as much grip as they can, adjust their setups here. Essa, good proximity coming up the hill here. Has to back off for a second, looking for an opportunity here to nose in against Alex Hilbrun. Nice job by Hilbrun here, keeping it in drift. Really, the speeds come down, and look, the proximity here from Michael Essa coming down the hill, a big noticing factor between run 1 and run 2, being able to navigate through those sections of the course while still maintaining proximity to the lead driver.
Slide him left for Hilbrun, slide him right for Michael Essa. Michael Essa gets the victory and will advance on into the top 16. you know, unfortunate circumstance there for Hilbrun getting, you know, going from those ideal dry conditions and now going to the wet. But again, we were talking about just that, you know, you really need to bring all of it here. You know, Pro 2, we're really throwing the book at them as far as wet qualifying, dry conditions last night, you know, just all of it. And that's just what really defines a competitor and a champion. You really need to deal with all of the conditions, all the parameters that is Formula Drift. So now, Dean Carney, who looked really good in you know, his entry was probably one of my favorites yesterday and really exciting. Matt Kaufman, I'll tell you what, he loves the rain. He absolutely loves it. He's from the Pacific Northwest. He's from Medford, Oregon, and he's kind of doing the rain dance right now. He's going against this big SRT10 Dodge Viper. Dean Carney, he's from Ireland. They're used to driving in the rain, but his competition in Ireland, not so much anymore. You know, he's practically American. He's wearing a shirt with American flag on it earlier today, so, you know, we call him, he might be Irish, but he's definitely residing and spending a lot of time here in the States. So how much of his wet driving experience will shine, we'll find out. So it looks like the 30 seconds is up for his burnout. We have instituted a 30-second clock for these drivers to do burnouts. All right, so before we go into this, looks like, okay, so before we go into this next battle or this sight lap, because these guys will get a sight lap, Lorette Nickel caught up with Dirk Stratton.
Well, unfortunately, Dirk Stratton, we can see all of the rocks that are falling from the bottom of your car. Yeah. Man, what a battle against Dylan Hughes.
Yeah, it was definitely wild. It wasn't the way we intended it to go, but I laid down a pretty decent follow run against Dylan. He had an amazing lead run, so I knew I was going to have to make a great lead run, and he knew he was going to have to give it his all and follow. So coming down the hill, I initiated how I've been all weekend, and Dylan just kind of punted me off the track, so he was going for it, you know, full aggression, and I can't blame him for that. You know, we both knew we were going to drive as hard as we could. We're kind of buddies off track, so it was pretty much just go out there and have fun and do the best we can, and he was going for it just as much as I was, so unfortunately for him, it was just a little too aggressive, and fortunately for us, we're moving on to top 16, and I can't be more pumped and excited to just drive and have fun. That's what we're here for.
Dirk, best of luck. Thanks.
Thank you.
Congrats to Dirk Stratton. Thank you, Lorette Nickel. Also, Ryan, want to bring this up because if it does happen, as we have 3 more battles left, if the driver goes off on their sight lap, they just have to go. If they go off in the kitty litter, they got to go right back up to the top. We're not letting them go through the entirety of the course.
Yep. Yeah, that was spoke of in the drivers' meeting. Everybody was made clear about that. We went through what would happen protocol-wise for rainy conditions, institution of a sighting lap. And, you know, what we're hoping for here is let's get through these last few battles, have a nice halftime break, and then let this baby dry out.
That'd be ideal, man. So this is their sight lap. This is not a judged run here between Carney and Kaufman. And they bring it through. Getting that horseshoe, getting familiar with the course. As we are getting prepared. Yeah, Ryan, just 3 more battles left. And we are now prepared for this wet battle, the final of the 3. We have 3 more battles. Dean Carney will lead, and then Oracle Lighting, Achilles Tire, Dodge Viper, Matt Kaufman in tow, and that 959, he's on Achilles Tires as well. Let's go ahead and throw it in. Bit of a slow-mo initiation there into that first front clip. Dean Carney taking a very tight line. Looks like Matt Kaufman getting thrown off a little bit here as Carney into that first outer zone, approaching that second outer zone. Now Kaufman gains a lot of ground. Oh, and a big correction there from Kaufman. Looks like he comes to a halt there in the keyhole. Now exiting out is Carney, and Kaufman now with that correction and that straightening. Oh, buddy. And bring it all the way out to that rumble strip, Ryan.
Yeah, if you're Matt Kaufman, you're not going to be happy with that, and it's really unfortunate because the pro class has been competing in dry conditions all weekend long, only to be left with 4 battles in the top 32 and then get wet conditions and have to make an adjustment on the fly. It's just a lot to ask here, but the pro driver's doing a good job. Let's see as Dean comes into this second outside zone. Kaufman starting to close the door here, but he comes up real tight to Dean, and he slows down and he loses drift there. He has to reinitiate. Looks like it's going to be an incomplete for Kaufman in the chase position, but we still have one more run to go, as now Dean will have to chase him down and Matt Kaufman goes to the lead.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Again, talking to his team, Kaufman likes driving in the rain, but when it comes to the chase position, it gets a bit difficult. So let's send cars here on the second half of this battle. Kaufman will now lead, Carney giving chase. Here in these wet conditions, we are live here at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. The Achilles tires underneath these vehicles, making steam, not smoke. And Kaufman comes into that second outer zone, looking very comfortable. And now exiting out into that touch and go and that final front clip. Goes Kaufman. Ryan, unfortunately, I believe for Kaufman, that straightening and that correction is going to end his day.
I think it's going to be really tough to overcome because it would require that Dean also has an incomplete in his chase run, and he's not far enough back for it to be an inactive chase, and he does not really make any mistakes, so it should be a pretty self-explanatory victory here for Dean Carney, and unfortunately for Matt Kaufman and the remainder of the drivers in the top 32, they'll have to deal with these wet conditions.
Here we go, slide him left for Kaufman, right for Carney, and as we quoted and stated, there you go, Dean Carney gets the victory. Carney will move on. Unfortunately for Kaufman, again, love the dude, but darn it, that correction threw him off. So Carney gets the victory and will advance on in his Oracle Lighting Achilles tire Dodge Viper. 2 more battles left. Piotr Visik from Poland, and coming us from Italy, Federico Sharifo in the Fiorella on the Nexen tires, warming up his Nexen tires. And then our final battle will be Kazuya Taguchi versus Jonathon Castro. So the clouds still in the sky. Doesn't look like they're spitting much water out anymore.
Yeah, you even see a little smoke there from the burnout, so looks like whatever was in the neighborhood is stopped, but it's still slick out there.
Here's the side lap for Piotr Visik and Federico Sharifo. Getting familiar with the wet conditions. And here we go with this battle. Ryan, like you said, I think we definitely got, let's call it what it is, lucky. You know, with we literally thought today was just going to be all moisture all day long. and we really lucked out. All right, sending cars, here we go with the actual battle after this sight lap. Piotr Visick, Federico Sharifo. Sight lap is completed. Let's see who's moving on, the Polish driver or Federico Sharifo. And Piotr Visick initiating into that first front clip, and Federico not too far behind. This is what I was talking about, that equalizer here for Federico. That big V12 Ferrari right there on the door. Not as much angle there, and this is what you're talking about, proximity, Ryan. And Federico keeping calm, good composure from him as Piotr out of the keyhole, and he is right there on the back end of that S15. As Federico, the rain, to be honest, could quite have helped him, as Piotr Visick qualified 6th, Federico qualifying 27th.
Yeah, Federico looking pretty settled in the rain. Good initiation here by Piotr Visick. Here comes Federico. Good job on proximity, and you have to imagine slowing that vehicle is going to be pretty challenging, so he's taking a big risk here, staying super close. A little bit less angle here. Piotr Visick getting out to that outside zone number 2. Nice job by Federico with the proximity, trying to take the fight to Piotr Visick. And again, there he is right there. Great job, but as he transitions, he will fall off the line a little bit there towards the finish line. Coming through this section here, you'll see on the transition back around, he's going to have to back off a little bit, and Piotr Visick is able to pull a little bit of a gap there towards the end. But I think proximity is going to make a big difference in these runs, and especially the duration of proximity.
Well, Federico will now lead. Federico will now lead, and Piotr Visick will give chase through the start chicane. Clean start. We haven't seen anybody hit a cone yet, which is nice. As Federico comes in hot. Oh, Federico gets into the kitty litter, just dips that back right toe in. And now look at Piotr Visick. He's touching tire right there on the door of Fiorella. The Wordhouse Drift Team, Falcon Tires, Silvia S15. Exits out. Fiorella with some massive angle there. And Piotr Visick. Whoa, but oh! It looks like it was after the finish line though. After the finish line there for Piotr.
Well, Piotr Visick says, hey, I can drive in the rain too.
Right.
Nice pull there, but both drivers going a bit long. Obviously, as the lead driver, Federico does have some responsibility there. And look at that tap right there by Piotr Visick. Federico staying in it, wanting to have a good battle here. Here's Piotr Visick keeping it tight on the transition, coming back around. A little bit of a gap established there. Now Piotr wants to try to close the door. Federico goes a bit wide there, leaves the door open for Piotr, and he's able to catch it, and he does go off course, but it is past the finish line.
And let's go to the judges. Slide them left for Federico, a right for Piotr Visick. And Ryan, Andy, and Brian say Piotr Visick. It's unanimous. So Piotr with the advantage, or not with the advantage, with the overall win. And we have one more battle left, Ryan. You know, you feel for the drivers if they're here in the wet, but they got to power through and deal with what they're dealt. Kazuya Taguchi in that up garage, Achilles tire S15, and Jonathon Castro in the Jerdot Metal Dam Toyota Racing Toyota 86 on Racing tires. The sight lap is completed. Kazuya Taguchi and Jonathan Castro, our final battle, top 32. Local time, just about 6:20. Just to let you know the lay of the land here as far as today's activities. We are scheduled to end top 32 at 6:30. We have a halftime break, and we'll give you the schedule. Live stream will come back on 8 p.m. local time, so just in about an hour and 40 minutes. So just enough time to check out the pits. But right now it's all about Kazuya Taguchi and Jonathan Castro in the wet conditions. Goes into that first front clip. Jonathan Castro from Dominican Republic. I don't believe he sees a lot of rainy conditions behind the wheel of his Toyota 86. As Kazuya Taguchi and Castro, I say that, and then he gets right to the side of that up garage. Achilles tire, S15, has to back off a little bit. Kazuya maxing out the angle, choking up Castro.
Well, like we've said, Jared, it looks like it's really going to be which driver can manage the proximity better. Taguchi gets out to a good jump here. Castro looking to try to close the door. This is where he takes his opportunity up the hill, surging forward here. Castro closing the door on Taguchi and then surging forward. And then here comes Castro again, nearly making contact with him, but putting the car in the right place to not hit Taguchi. Now coming downhill, you can see a little bit of separation here. Nice line by Taguchi. And
all right, so there is a little replay there of Castro and Taguchi knocking off that back bumper, Ryan.
yeah, a little bit of a piece of contact there. So it looks like the drivers will just take a look at the vehicle and we'll get ready for run number 2.
This is potentially the final half of the battle. So final half to end out top 32, Castro and Taguchi. Who's moving on? Castro or Taguchi, the 86 or the S15? Castro, Taguchi, tip to tail. Oh, and Taguchi looks like a little bit of a late entry there as Castro very early on. And Taguchi, look at that, gets to the side of Jonathan Castro, gets that second outer zone, goes Castro, Taguchi, zeroes in, allowing him to transition is Taguchi. Now coming back down the hill is Castro into that touch and go area. And Taguchi goes into the backside as Castro continues on.
So some real moments there for both drivers. Let's take a look at the initiation from Castro right before the standings 2 cone. The chase driver just needs to initiate by the last standing cone. In these conditions, I think you could definitely take advantage of that. And now both drivers headed up. Nice job by Taguchi keeping Castro in his sights, maintaining relative proximity, and then diving in right here, very close. Transitioning back around, Taguchi once again. Try not to let Castro run away. Castro, good angle there. And Taguchi dives in at the last moment and tries to keep that proximity on. Here they are in the horseshoe here. Great job there by both drivers. Taguchi trying to keep as close as he can in these conditions, give him a little bit something extra for the judges. And then that transition right there, ooh, he looks like he does. Little tap there. Both drivers saying it. And now we go to the judges.
All right, are we going one more time? Are we seeing a victor? The final battle of 32, again, scheduled to go till 6:30, but if we have to, we'll go a little longer if it's a one more time. We have our halftime, and we'll be back here at 8 p.m. for the continuation of round 3 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. This is the O'Reilly Auto Parts Road to the Championship. And here we go, the results. Jonathan Castro or Taguchi, slide him left for Castro or right for Taguchi. Ryan says Castro, Andy says one more time, and Brian says Jonathan Castro gets the win. Castro gets the win and advances on. And Ryan, I want to go to you real quick because Taguchi had that contact. It looked exciting, but I think he kind of saved. Castro kind of saved Taguchi on that.
Yeah, potentially. It came down for me to Taguchi's lead run was pretty sloppy. He slowed down in a lot of areas where he wasn't supposed to.
Brian's shaking his head. He agrees with you.
Yeah, he agrees with me. Right here at Inside Clip 2 is where Taguchi really slowed down, and that's where Castro was able to get close. But it also choked up Castro at the same time. and was not where he was supposed to be slowing down. In the chase position, Taguchi dropped tires in a few different places. He did surge there at the final inside clip and kind of bump into Castro, but despite that little excitement at the end, we felt that Castro did a better job in the lead and the chase positions.
Thank you, Ryan Lontaine, Brian Eggert, and Andy Yen. There are webcast times, 8 o'clock local time, just before 6:30. An hour and a half. Grab a drink, grab some food, but get prepared. Top 16, and hopefully, Mother Nature, everybody cross your fingers, cross your feet, cross your toes, cross everything, say a prayer. Let's get some dry conditions here at Michelin Raceway, Road to Atlanta. Brian Sage, anything to add real quick? No, you're good. All right, let's party. We'll send it here at 8 o'clock for Top 16. Opening ceremonies, round 3 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. Send it.